Welcome back to the Silo Podcast. I'm Austin, and today we're talking about awakening. Now, I've done a series of these videos where I've had half of this podcast be pre-event and half of it be post-event, and so this is another one of those. This is past Austin, technically, talking through what I think is going to happen at awakening, but as well as like we've learned a lot. Like there was a lot of learning coming into this event specifically. I think it's so important to do things that make you uncomfortable. And while we have a history of doing two past paid events, this one is definitely a little bit higher ticket and has a lot more going on, I think. So let's recap the history of our paid events. Actually, we did Cultivate back in like 2021, partnered with a few other creatives in the area and put on this amazing creative workshop. We had hosts, we had people that were, keynote speakers that also then, after we were done with all their presentations, we sat down and did workshops with each one of them and rotated as we saw fit. So that was an amazing event. Man, that was crazy. That started off, I think, at $40, and that was a blast. That was incredible. That was like one of our first in-person crazy events. And we learned a lot from that too. The planning on that was insane. We had no idea. We were so young and naive to what this looks like. But as we continued to grow, I think it shows the progression pretty well. So then we took off from paid events for like 3 years almost, probably. And in 2023, we started what we called Where the Wild Things Grow. And that was a paid styled shoot. We learned over time that photography was definitely the influence that we could continue doing. I, am a photographer and know how to go about setting up that kind of stuff because I had the interests of my own, creativity at heart there. So with Where the Wild Things Grow, I think that was also like $30 or $45. I think it was like $30, $35, depending on when you bought tickets. And that was crazy. What I learned from that, which is such an interesting lesson, was that none of the people that were at that event or paid for that event were like Silo, regular attendees. And when we were pitching this new event, that was like so strange to me. But the people that showed up for that were people that were wanting to grow and were willing to throw money at it. Like they were at that tipping point. I think there's a tipping point where it's like, to get through this next ceiling, to get through this next, season of life, I need to invest, whether that be, personally, going through your portfolio and like really like sizing down, getting only the best shots, getting the best pieces all in one spot. Or for some, that's education and, ways to continue your craft. So for Where the Wild Things Grow, there was a lot of new people that I had no idea, no experience with, no prior, relationships with, which is super cool. And like that has become like the pinnacle of like celebration in the last like year for me, is the new people that come in and have no idea what they're getting into, but do it anyway, do it scared. And we had a lot of those people. They now are some of my closest friends, right? Devin Linville is one of those people and is now, on the Silo team helping us put together these future events. And it's just so cool to see the people that took a chance on us, because it really is like when you come up to a styled shoot where this is their first one, it's like, man, like, are they going to nail it? Do they know what they're doing? And having a ton of people, some of the most talented people that I know, help set up sets and prop design and models and stuff like that for Where the Wild Things Grow, really set the tone for the next couple of years, where we didn't make a ton of money on that. That wasn't supposed to be a cash grab. It never was, never will be. But going into with understanding that like there is people that want to pay for this kind of thing, really shifted my mindset in a positive way to just like, not, you always go into it and you're like, oh, well, we can make the most amount of money. All that money literally went back to the people that were a part of it. I walked away with none of it, honestly. And I'm glad I did that, because that just continues to like heed that want and like greed for a snowball of money to start coming in. We talk a lot about this on the prior podcast, where it's like, I spent so much time with this community building trust. For me to want to defy that is just like a complete 180 from what we've done over the last 5 years now. So the history of these events have been really cool, sparse at the same time. But going into Awakening, I took those stats and I was like, listen, we can make this happen. And as the Silo team grew, we added Michaela Quinn, Michaela Fitch, Helen, Chris, Devin. All of them have such talents in like different aspects of like strategy or set design or administration stuff. I knew that this could be scaled even more. And so there's just also this thirst. At the same time we're trying to grow, I think I saw a lot of young photographers, especially at Mosaic that we just had a couple months ago in 2025, that like there was people that wanted growth, and I also wanted to see growth at the same time. And instead of just going parallel, I knew we would intersect at some point. And so that birthed, and we planned this before in our like yearly schedule, but like that birthed the idea of like Awakening and making it so education, build your portfolio based. And Michaela had an amazing vision for this already in her head, something that she's been wanting to do for a while. Let her run on this. Like this is Michaela Quinn's passion project. And I cannot wait to see, in past tense as I'm speaking now, like what is possible. Like, I guess that's future tense, whatever. But like I am in the past right now, not knowing what happened. But her passion project completely just like, I want you to run with this. This is yours, Michaela. This is your baby. Whatever I can do to help, I want to. And so now here we are in the season of moving towards Awakening, you know, right as spring is ending into summer. It's all about, the new beginnings, the things that you are seeing in the cracks of the concrete coming up and sprouting, and coming out of, a lot of people come out of this like creative desert in the winter, where, a lot of photographers specifically are not shooting as much. They are taking time to work on their website, work on themselves, get everything in line for the new year. And we wanted this to be a kickstart to something new for someone. And so whether you're like, weathered and you understand what's happening and you are in the creative business and you know what you're doing and the ins and outs, we want that to be a space for you to be able to flex and experiment and be in community with people. But then also for those who are just starting out and are like, 2025 is my year, start them out miles ahead of where they could have been if they were just asking family and friends to shoot photos with them. And so that comes into, the elephant in the room is the price, right? This is the main thing that we took a lot of time in considering, but then also a lot of time learning from. And it was really cool to see what the response was and going about how do we learn as we go about this, right? And so the marketing for this was so integral to getting this started, right? So I first met with Maddie from Supply, and that's the studio we're working at for this. That's where my wedding was held. I knew that had to be the space for this. It's so clean slate. We bring in everything that we want. It's completely like 100% our stuff in that space, and like that we just needed to run wild. So Supplies as the space, just it needed to happen. Part of my job in all of this, and when we assigned tasks throughout for the group, I was like, I'm handling the communications. I got this. Went to Supply, met with Maddie. She's a darling. She's awesome. Love everything that she's doing and building the community and everything that's a part of that. So that's going from email lists to studio memberships. Like, she's running that joint, and I love seeing how she's connecting dots for people in similar ways that Silo is. So we took a tour of the space, sat down with her for like an hour, had Michaela come out and be like, kind of scouring what that would look like with her sets in mind, and giving Maddie a better idea. And we worked out a deal how to make it worth both of our times. That's social media content for use of their space. So thankful that happened. And then we'll also have a team of, me, Devin, and Chris that will be shooting content for them day of, both for me and for supply. We'll then meet up afterwards and start out a strategy session to figure out how we can get content in their hands and posting that organically for them to drive people to their studio memberships. And that was kind of the main exchange, right? Exchange of studio time for us, for exposure, for more photographers to get into, hopefully, their studio membership program. And so that worked out. Boom, ironed out. And now here we are, ready to go, ready to make this happen. We had no content. So I needed to do what I do all the time. And I'm not going to even say do best, because I kind of make stuff up along as I go. But we knew that we wanted it to be at the $200 price point, because that is just something that I think made sense, right? I put out on the Instagram stories a little poll that says, what would you pay for this styled shoot? We kind of had the outline of everything. We had the mood board, the model mood board. And through that, people were saying 150, 200, 175, 200, like 250 or something like that. And a lot of people, which was super surprising to us, didn't choose the cheapest option. And I found that like so interesting. And I don't know if it was just the sample size or the people that, were a part of that poll, but it was interesting to see that 150 wasn't the most chosen option. It was 175 and a few at 200 as well. And so moving forward, then I was like, this a lot of other consideration too. 200 is where I want to land. I know we'll do some deals along the way that will get us those who can't afford 200, but those who are super interested will pay the $200 price. Something that someone that I listen to a lot on podcasting, Omar El Takori, says that like when you pay attention. And so a lot of our events are free, and you can walk in and out of those and learn nothing. I think that it's very obvious that everyone does learn something along the way, but when you invest your time and resources and finances into something, he is so right in saying that like what might have just gone over your head at a silo like summer capture, you will like write that down at this kind of event where you are, you're invested because you are invested. And so that kind of struck a chord with me of like continuing down that route and, going through and making sure that like I would reassure my team, it's okay. We're going to make this happen, because $175 for early access for the first week, and as well for the email list people that get on that even earlier, that they would find immense value in having that charged less. So we had a few people sign up for that 175 deal, went past. We definitely had a lot of reels go out in that time frame, almost like overwhelming, and I'm sure very overwhelming to a few people that are those diehard people that see all of our stuff. But knowing that this was a paid event, like it wasn't guaranteed that like our normal in crowd will show up, right? It's something that we had to actually work towards. We couldn't just be like, oh yeah, at least 20 people, the homies will show up and it'll be easy. And at the end of the day, that's the success that people showed up. This is like, a little bit more of a convincing scenario of like, hey, we want to show you the value that you'll get out of this. You'll be able to update your portfolio with images that you wouldn't otherwise get because of all the tools that you'll have at your disposal. And another aspect of this was one of my creative mentors too, pulled me aside after one of our meetings within a group, and he was like, yo, can I dissect what like awakening actually is? And I really had to have this open mind in that scenario, right? Because it was actually the week before we were about to post it. And he was like, let me show you what you are actually creating for other creatives here. We talked about pricing. He was like, yeah, this is worth way more than you're charging. I understand this is your first one. It needs to happen this way. I'm on the same page with that. But he walked me through what is actually happening if we were to just do everything for you, right? And logically walk through this with me of like, yo, if you are making everything done for you, then you show up as a photographer, get the same images as everyone else because it's the same models in the same clothes in the same space. And then they go home, edit the photos. That might be different, but you're going to have however many people show up and it's all just similar images in the same space. Either you're crediting or you're not crediting, but it's still not you that has brought all these people and things and ideas together. It was actually done for you. And I think there's a lot of validity in that. But there's also a flip side. The validity is you are creating in that scenario where everything is done for you, people that might be just there to take credit for all of that. And that's part of what they paid for, right? That's the transaction aspect of that. But you are making through this process like lazy creatives that aren't problem solving, that aren't thinking critically through things. And he suggested a few options, which I won't go into because we're probably going to use some of them in the future. And he suggested like how you want to build communities, just go deeper with these people. And that was the whole idea with this year being the year of refine and helping people on a more one-on-one basis. Like I can't do that one-on-one with 110 people at a capture and give them all more than like 3 minutes. I guess it would probably turn out to be. So doing this route really helps like bring actual development out of people. I'm really excited for that when awakening happens. So he suggested a few more ways to develop creatives, and I was so on board. I changed, it was more of a wording issue than anything because it wasn't done for you. And it isn't as I'm planning it now because there'll be so many different options for people, tools, lighting fixtures. I'm like looking at all the stuff that I have going here. Like there's going to be a spotlight that's projecting, if you're a video listener, a video watcher right now, there's like a little like window pattern on the back wall of this podcast. I've got a new light that we're going to bring, all the C stands, people will bring props. It is not all done for you. We are simply actually giving you a buffet of options and you're going to put 5 things on a plate and make images based off of that. And then as we rotate around different sets and models and outfits, you're going to have way more diversity than he thought, and then that what we originally thought as well. But that really helped change my mindset in the marketing of it because done for you is going to attract lazy people that don't like want to like actually think through processes. And I want to be someone as someone that can bring education, not an educator, that actually is something that makes the gears turn in your head. So that was super valuable. Moving forward then, we saw, it was pretty stagnant across the board, getting people to come in and sign up. And, with all of what we could have done, I stayed very confident, knowing that people would show up, knowing that most people book in the last 2 weeks of any sale, really. So we had a lot of lead time, and maybe that was to our deficit at the very end of the day. But we had, the people that wanted it bad enough showed up. We changed our strategy on social from just putting out reels daily, 5 a week or something like that. That was doing great, but at the same time, because we were selling something that 80 or 90% of the people in Silo might not have needed at the time, we weren't even seeing good engagement on stuff. And that, that lowers the entire tide of everything that we put out. So for weeks at a time, we were only putting out awakening stuff, and that wasn't helping the people that it needed to. When we switched and did a lot more DM outreach, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys that are listening got DMs from us that were interested, put out feelers, all that stuff. I'm so glad that we went that route because that relationship is the thing that actually sells. And there's a lot of things that go into, right, the marketing aspect of that. Me sending out email blasts, DMs, posts targeted at different people, different, motivations as well. And that's something that I'm learning a lot about right now. And also the sales process, right? It doesn't have to be this gross, interrupt your day, sour experience. And I'm trying my best to learn. Basically, I mean, I'm a student of YouTube, so definitely more on YouTube, just what sales actually looks like and how to make sure we're meeting the needs, because sales, I do believe at the end of the day, is service, and serving people brings them back and it has them understand, that you have something valuable to give them. And that starts with self-confidence too. So I brought that confidence into this momentum of marketing, and a lot of people were able to see that. And I was super glad that that was happening. We had a few people confused on marketing that we got to clean up and help understand. That helped a few more people trickle in, right? The goal was only to have 15 people, 20 people max. And as of recording this, we've reached that number, which is so cool. And I'm so glad we got there. I want to explain the journey. And it was trickling, but the DMs were helping so much. We were converting people that didn't even hear about it, through all of like the 10, 15 reels we put out already. We got people that were needing this, that we knew, we saw them in the community, both like me, like the whole team, basically. Like we knew 4 or 5 people that would have been so blessed to be a part of these things. Reach out to them. Did they know anyone else? And that network just continues to widen and grows out this web, which is so beautiful. Those DMs helped so much. That got us the more trickles. I also put more effort into videos. I was going to different locations. You've probably seen the reels of the C stand super high up, and it's just a green grass and me standing like I'm a little like elf in the grass, super small. Those videos are super fun to make, but I realized that I couldn't just go off of talking head videos. That's boring. It's uninteresting. I had to get creative. I had to put more effort in, because even if the effort showed just at the beginning of like this weird shot that isn't what I'm doing right now, just talking to camera, that would interest 10 to 20% more of our audience than just me talking. So as I continued that and actually adding B-roll to videos and adding captions, well, I've always had captions, but the Edits app released, in the midst of this as well. So using the Edits app and actually getting to learn how to use stuff like that. I've never actually used like CapCut or anything. So figuring out what a mobile editing platform looked like and how I can use iPhone video to make stuff happen, all these different mediums. And it turns into literally a mosaic of all these different mediums: B-roll, no B-roll, talking head, different things, B-roll, whatever it is. It was so cool to experiment more with that, knowing that I had to do something different because what I was doing wasn't working. I also had a friend, shout out Sam, talk about doing ads, and well, we didn't make that mark this time. Like I'm just highly considering doing ads, like local ads for like York, Lancaster, Harrisburg for our next styled shoot of like, yo, I'm just going to put in $50, see if one converts, because that pays for itself. And then it's worth it. And I think that's just another medium of marketing that I want to get into more. Super interesting, the podcast I've listened to about ads. And I want to just keep figuring every part of it out. And honestly, it's a lot to like know. It's a lot to know what I want to do. It's harder to pick which ones come next. And I encourage any creative to like take one step at a time through your journey. Cause what I'm experiencing right now is that like I just have 17 options because I've researched all of them. And that overwhelm of having all the options actually is paralyzing me into doing what the next step should be. So actually sitting down with myself and like prioritizing them is probably what I should be doing. Moving forward then, we talked about ads, we talked about marketing, the price then, as we got a few more people to come in, we realized like we need to be doing flash sales, we need to be doing stuff. But there was tension of like 175 we already had people sign up for. So like we can't go lower than that because that undercuts what someone already else paid. So we made the hard decision to say, yo, listen, everyone that bought already will be getting a discount equivalent to what the lowest price will be over time, which is going to be that $99 price point. So we first I made a lot of content around that $99 price point so that it would just be ready to go, ready to be posted when that dropped. We also had a friend named Pete Rodriguez. He might have met at Mosaic or other events, or you've seen on social. He was so willing to get people in the store, and we didn't even reach out to him, but he wanted to sponsor 2 seats for Awakening, because he saw the value in it, and we're eternally grateful for him being able to see through it. And that's something that is built because of relationships, and not something, like random pizza shops would do. So that was super great. We did the giveaway for that. Amazing people got in, and we just have now this, we got to around 8, and I was like, I am comfortable with this. I feel like at that point I had to really retire the thought that I needed to be greedy about this. And so that to me was a comfortable number to slow down the marketing, slow down the messaging, pump the brakes a little bit and be like, yo, let's return to some like normal content on our socials and just keep moving towards this goal. We'll butter in a few more. Well, there's a lot more conversations we're having in the DMs, but moving forward, we didn't have to emphasize so much on social. And that also was fine too, because we were still selling even though we weren't pushing as hard. And I think we saw, our core audience return to normal posts, but then, that kind of layers into the next post that we do that might be Awakening. All of this in the background, Michaela Quinn and the entire team are hard at work. You've seen some of the reels probably of Michaela putting together all these materials. She is incredible and like has devoted the last like month of her life to getting all of these sets ready to go. This is her baby, as I said earlier, and I want to be able to capture her and her work super well day of as well, because it's so important that she gets these portfolio worthy photos and or herself in the sets and the sets themselves, and her hard work and handiwork needs to be highlighted as well. And so as much as this is a silo event, this is like Michaela's baby of like actually doing the work that she wants to do in the future of being creative director and set designer. So I'm super proud of her and the entire team for how we've rallied behind each other to make this happen. It's getting to be 30 minutes already, guys. How do I wrap this up? Because I haven't done a podcast in a long time. I'm really excited. This is a couple of days right before Awakening. I've got some final details, some like hospitality things I got to work on. Got to put all this gear in my car. That's the worst part about it all, right? My Honda Civic is going to be absolutely packed full of film gear, C-stands, light stands, all the things. That's honestly like, I'm dreading doing that. It's so much stuff. I just know I'm going to just be sweaty about it. And I'm so looking forward to seeing what these creatives paid for and seeing how this is going to pay off for them, because they're putting in the work. They're paying for this to pay deeper attention. And the same level of hospitality and warmth and growth that we see at normal silo events, I think will also bleed out even more into this kind of event where we can just grow together on small teams, and create some dope stuff, guys. Like, I hope I'm not jinxing it. I don't think I can be, honestly, because it's so cool, and it's all been just so beautiful. Where we once, in the last, month or so, had a lot of stress and anxieties and this like, ooh, I don't know what's happening feelings. It's really cool that on a few calls that I've made to the team this week, everyone's feeling a lot of peace about this. And I think that means something. That means something that the hard work has not gone for nothing, and that the worries and the time spent away from things that we want to be doing can turn into something that we're super proud of and worth spending that time doing. So Awakening is happening, and I can't wait to see what future Austin has to say. I hope he's going to have some amazing words. So thankful for the turnout, and I'm really excited about like the lemons, the content that's going to come out of this, because using this as an opportunity to really get new headshots for everyone on the team, make sure we understand what this looks like, and build out a system where we can educate more people and bring people through this journey of creative awakening together. So these systems that we're building right now are going to do a lot for us in the future. So hope it goes well. And here's future Austin. Yo, enjoying this episode? Please consider subscribing on YouTube or leaving a 5-star rating on Spotify or wherever you're getting your podcast. It really does help push out to more people, and we need more eyes on these amazing creatives that we are highlighting in this season of the Silo podcast. So if you wouldn't mind, leave a 5-star review on those platforms and a comment down below. Now let's get back into the episode. What's up? Future Austin here, and now we're going to discuss what happened at Awakening, because a lot happened, and it was super cool and overwhelmingly positive, and I'm just so overwhelmed with emotion of happiness and grateful, and just feel utterly blessed. So let's dive into what actually happened. So leading up to it, I think the coolest part was that our team was feeling a ton of peace. I think I discussed that before, and that just continued. I feel like me and Katie got to supply at like 9:50 in the morning. We were ready to go. I had gotten some drinks and some waters and some snacks for the team beforehand, and we got over there early. We were the first ones there. Our contact with supply was there already in the space waiting for us, which was so good. I was worried about what timeline would look like if they weren't there on time. They were there. They were ready to go. Let us immediately straight in. Got right to work. This is actually one of Katie's old friends from youth group, so it was cool to have them catch up. I immediately just like darted to the other side of the building where the studio was. They had 2 like nice large carts for us, and so I sprinted over to the other side with the 2 carts, knowing that the studio was there, as well as a spot for us to load in closer to the studio for all of Michaela's big set pieces. And so getting those carts over there mattered. Michaela showed up, the rest of the team showed up, Helen, Devin, Maya was there. Super cool to just get so many different hands on this piece. And so when Michaela pulled up with her mom and her brother and her partner, it was go time. Got there, it was 10 a.m. That was our call time. We all just got into motion. We had this giant document of steps of what to do, when to do them, who's doing them. So that pre-production was totally ready to go, and we could just jump right in. Once we did that, we were all just kind of feeding Michaela elements of the sets. And so she was the one actually assembling, as well as Helen and Maya, while the boys and some other people involved were feeding and supporting her in whatever she needed. Me and Devin then ended up getting a lot of the camera gear, a lot of the lighting gear in. I was setting up lights. At the same time, I was trying not to be sweaty. The biggest thing is like, I just don't want to like not look presentable when the time comes, even though I'm a part of the whole like setup process. So over that time, we all got settled in, camera guys working on camera stuff, set people working on set stuff. And it genuinely took the entire 2 hours to get everything set up. And we had some of our first arrivals at like 11:30 when the start time was 12. So we, shout out Terry. Yeah, I know you listen to the podcast, bro. Thanks for being here. And so they were in the area early, came in, found their way in, before we even had someone at like the front door waiting for them. That just shows like the anxiousness to get started. And I think that's admirable. I didn't even account for how early people were going to get there, which is dope. So about that. So definitely had to deal out a few apologies like, yo, sorry, we're still in the middle of this, getting ready. And yeah, dude, like it really just happened. We all got set up right on time. We built a third set even. Me, Michaela Fitch, and Maya held a lot of time for this third set where we're draping cloth over 2 C stands. It was a nice, very simple backdrop on the white backdrop that already is supply. We knew we needed and wanted something that was like bare bones enough that we can tear down or move if we need to. I think the biggest hurdle in all of that setup was like the studio. Once we got the Mylar, the reflective bottom of these sets in, like we didn't realize, excuse me, how much room was actually taken up already just by 2 sets. And so we had to decide, do we shoot into the corner and have a third set, or there's a smaller corner where we could also have the third set. I made the executive call that we go into the corner with a third set, which I think made the most sense because it had the most light and the least amount of traffic in it, which in the long term things and the logistics of things paid off really well. People started arriving. I was getting ready. I think I was feeling a little behind on like capturing camera B-roll and photos. I was getting a ton of iPhone stuff of everyone setting up, which is great. And I think that's, as I'm continuing to do this, the more the strategy needs to be, because a lot of the time my phone was not eating first at events. And so I'd walk away with four panning videos and like 6 images for my iPhone. And then that meant I just had to go through my entire content pipeline before I could even get one good photo to like post a thank you post about, which is totally fine. But working with an iPhone workflow is definitely going to be something I strategize with more in the future. We had a ton of friends show up too. Like I said, I invited Michaela's mentor. We had a third Michaela show up. Michaela Schertzer, awesome. Like, thanks so much for being there. She helped us shoot our team photos and was there to kind of soak in what was going on that day. So helpful, so just bright, and brought a cheer to the room, raised the whole atmosphere of the space. So I'm glad that we had these people come and like support on top of the people that were already supporting Michaela's vision. And it made for a really special kind of day where we got to honor the people that were leading the charge in their moments, where we can cheer them on. We were able to just fully embrace their vision and their direction and make that happen. And so that was so cool. That takes us to, actually shooting. And so we had Michaela Fitch is the one that was at the front door, led everyone back. So many people were there just like peeking in the window and the door to the space before we were ready. And they're just like, oh my gosh, like admiring the beauty of these sets because they just turned out so good. If you haven't seen photos, check our Instagram, silo.us on Instagram. And you'll see some videos coming up soon, I'm sure. But I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible so that you could understand the full breadth of this. Because I think some of you are probably curious about how we do events and what my thought process is. And so showing that off makes a difference. And I feel like I watch a ton of people's like behind the scenes podcasts or, walkthroughs of their brain for this stuff. So hopefully this is valuable to you. And if not, you like hearing me yap, you're a weirdo. That's just what it is. Event happened. So good. You're just going to hear so much positive stuff. Honestly, Everyone loved the sets. We started off with a little introduction. I got up, spoke a little bit about kind of what this is, what we're doing here, had Michaela Quinn come up and share about her vision, share about what she was doing there, why it mattered to her. She took up, I probably went for 2 minutes. She probably went for 3 or 4. I came back up, framed a few more things, then asked Michaela Schertzer to come up because she is a studio member at Supply, and Supply wanted to kind of give a pitch for themselves while they were there. So Michaela did that. I came back up, framed it all. I said, yo, let's get started. And if you know how at least this community works, you know that like it takes a little bit to warm up. I think something that I like experienced while I was there and I knew to be true, but it came to the forefront of my mind was like, creatives are like emotional beings, whether you like it like to be outward facing or very critically internal. And so, it always takes a while for you to like warm up the room, and me being that person that has to kind of set the stage and set the tone. I try to be as welcoming and like uppity as possible so that can happen. And it definitely took this crowd a little bit longer to warm up. It's not the same people that show up for captures. This is all, a paying crew, some people that don't know each other that well, some people that do. So it's like, there's almost 2 groups, but honestly, they merged so well that it didn't even seem like, the Silo natives and the new to Silo people, which is like, if that happened, I needed to disarm that really quickly. Luckily, I didn't have to do that. And like a lot of the facilitating actually was not needed, which is great. So even going into that speech, I had a rough outline of what I wanted to do in terms of like rotations to make sure that no dominant person would take the entire time. So when I was presenting, I was like, okay, here's how we're going to do it. Probably going to do 2 groups. I know there's 3 sets. We're going to do 2 groups. And then within those groups of 5, we'll have leads take turns being leads. So you probably, I don't even know what the timing actually turned out to be, but it was like, Sam would be the lead and directing the model and directing the lighting for 5 or 10 minutes. And then the next person would get a chance, and they'd all still shoot when Sam is leading, but Sam got full creative control of that set for that long. And so giving people the tools that they had to make that stuff happen was super important. If you're listening on audio, I'm using my hands a bunch right now. This is going to be me the entire time because I actually feel like I have freedom here in this space. So you're going to see a lot of hands. And if not, there might be some dead space where these hands are just kind of all over the place. But I designated myself also as a lighting tech. So I was someone that the leads of the groups would come to and be like, hey, I want this lighting as a hair light. Let's turn it super warm and blast it. Boom, I got you, done. And so we had like one large softbox, a studio like projector kind of mount, and a bunch of other lights that we got to use. And it was so cool to like see people use the gear. I mean, it's my gear, and like to just see other people like want to utilize other aspects of the space and gear, because a lot of people don't have access to 300 watt lights, let alone flashes and softboxes. So to allow people to experiment past what they're used to on top of being in a studio setting was something I think my past Austin had already talked about. But I wanted to make sure that stuff got used, because as soon as I brought something new in, it was like the talk of the town and the thing that everyone wanted to use at the same time. And I take it as a luxury to have all this gear, but being able to share it with everyone was like truly one of the coolest parts of the day. So I was definitely taking orders from people, supporting people where they could. Hair light, should we just blast this into the ceiling to give more ambience so that all levels are raised? What temperature do we need this at? I know it's glowing behind the square portal, but do you want that a different color? I had a 300C and Amaran 300C here. So I was like, do you want it to be blue? Do you want it to be purple? You're going to lose a lot of level, but it's going to be worth it. We're going to have to battle the current light that's in the space, but let's make it happen. all that time, we had tons of people just hanging out in the kitchen. There's a space to put all your gear in the kitchen. We just had so many people actively shooting. Once we swapped leads, you could see people like light up and lock in, of just like, okay, now's my time. I've been sitting on these ideas for the last 20 minutes. Boom, here we go. And I heard from so many people like, yo, even after the first like rotation, they're like, I could walk away right now and be so happy with the stuff I got. And that was just so cool to see, honestly. All the while, Michaela was getting ready and getting fitted and getting ready to go into her own sets as a model. And it was just so cool to see her put in all the hard work, be sweaty, be gross, be like full of dirt from the sod, and then completely transform into someone that is like perfect and built for these sets like she just tried to do. It was so cool to see her progression, and then also be excited to be like in her sets that she designed, and knowing that while she was building it, there was a piece of her that would like, there was a piece of that set that was missing her at the end of the day. And so for her to sub in was just the icing on the cake, is to bring it full circle in that way. We had an amazing makeup artist come, and she did all the models' hair and makeup and just freshened them up whenever they could. She got so many photos, loved working with her, brought her son too, who's awesome. It's a part of the event as well. And her assistant as well. Like, it would not have been possible without this team. And it really was like not possible without the village behind the movement of this all. And there's so much to be thankful for. And it was so cool. So cool. I'm running out of words, honestly, because it's just like beautiful how people were collaborating in the space. I worried a lot about like, what does collaboration look like? Is there going to be someone that's super dominant? But when I was checking in on these teams, it was like, I came in, I was like, yo, okay, if you guys haven't swapped leads yet, go ahead and swap leads soon. And they'd come back to me. They're like, yo, we already swapped. No big deal. We're good. Like, don't worry about us. We're covered. And to have that happen is rare. And I think that shows what Silo community in general is like the most welcoming crowd of beautiful people in the entire like Pennsylvania and the world and the United States and everywhere. They're so considerate. Everyone was like dipping in and dipping out. If someone knew they had a shot, they were in there. They were getting the shot. They paid for this. I'm here to get this shot. I'm going to make this happen. I need this for my portfolio. I want this for my community. I need this for my network. Whatever it is, whatever people came in there with, they left with the solution to. And I think that's so powerful when it comes to events that you are, investing in. It's like, am I going to, like, there's an inherent risk of, I might not get what I put into it, but to hear everyone come out of this, like, I got what I want. I got what I wanted in the first like 10 minutes, was so encouraging to hear. And after months and months of hard work, it really did pay off. The marketing for it, as I talked before, like, there was a whole journey of doing that. So then the payoff was seeing those people in the space and being happy about it. And that's kind of the life of someone who throws events, right? It's like tons of strenuous hard work that you don't see if you're a normal person. But for the attendees, they can get there and be like, I can see the intention and the purpose and the hard work and the attention to detail it took to make this work. So it really paid off for these people. And I was so glad that 10 is such a great number to have for this kind of stuff. And I know it's going to be great in the future. So as everyone was kind of wrapping here, there were a few people that like kind of knew what they wanted. And then there was those that like, I got what I want. I'm kind of hanging out, kind of networking. There's a bunch of awesome people there, just kind of hanging out. So there was some mentors in the back and professional photographers that were like just hanging back, seeing if they could chime in whenever they could, which is so needed. Like, we need people that have direction or have skills that you don't. Actually, one of the attendees was teaching other attendees how to use off-camera flash. And so he had a softbox with a light in it and gave the flash transmitter to someone, and they were learning how to use flash and what the like lighting ratios were and how to effectively do that kind of stuff. And in the end, that was what people were actually excited about, was that like network of talking to someone and being like, this is actually not something I'm super strong at. Let me figure out how to do it with you, and like hands-on learning. And so like as one person was learning, then all of a sudden like 2 or 3 others are like, oh my gosh, no, this is perfect because I actually don't know how to use this either. And so we made progress towards learning how to use off-camera and on-camera flash there. Shout out Chad for that. Super dude to make that happen. And towards the end, as people were starting to kind of like flutter back in the back of the room, let other people shoot, and they were taking what they needed. The few people that were still there, we were messing around with some with a projector mount, the spotlight, I should say. And I was like, guys, I really want to use this. I really want to experiment. Like, is there room in this for me to try something, and you guys shoot it and tell me if it's cool or not? And they all agreed towards the end, and they were like, yeah, we got what we wanted. Let's mess around and like actually experiment to a whole nother level of depth. So I got my spotlight mount out, had it on the Amaran 300C, and was blasting that at 100%. If we went to a color, it was like barely visible under the natural light that was filling the space. So I'd love to go back and like mess around with that during like nighttime, or getting another space and shooting at night where the light is way more prominent. But we got some awesome stuff of Pelissa and Veronica with this like very short sliver, thin sliver of warm light. And Pelissa was holding a big suitcase that had flowers coming out of it, right? And she was doing like she's just a killer model. Both of them are. They're so talented. And so she was messing around with the suitcase with the flowers on it, and I shot this sliver of light like diagonally across, just in her eye and over a suitcase. And there's like a little leading line on the floor up to the suitcase and stuff. This is definitely going to be on my Instagram if it's up by now. And so it was just such a cool shot. I'm so glad I got that, because I put that projector on, the spotlight on, and then I let everyone take a few photos, and I'm like, guys, actually this is turning out so well. Can I hop in for like 5 minutes? So I got to hop in and like take a few photos with Pelissa and the suitcase. And I wish I did that more, because that projector is something I've wanted to work with for the longest time. And I'm so glad I was able to hop in just a couple minutes, get like one bucket shot for myself out of all of this, and walk away with some amazing images, just because of the hair and makeup on Pelissa, her modeling skills, and the kindness of others to invite me into that space. So that was a highlight for me, was like me trying to make an image for myself, because something that I set out for this year was to make in quotes, make an image for myself, like build out the set or the theme or the entire framework of it, and go out and just shoot, because I want to have these kinds of images, both to prove to myself that I can do it, and like to prove that it doesn't need to be part of a business move to go and make beautiful art. So that was so cool. Towards the end, I got everything set up where I had a C-stand with the boom arm and a shotgun mic, and I wanted to do exit interviews, and not the kind where you fire people and you're like, what happened? Why'd you do that? Or whatever, but more of I wanted reviews on the spot while it was fresh in their mind. And so as people were heading out, me and Devin were inviting people in to a little interview set, where I had we didn't have a light, and we were just shooting into the entryway to Supply, and just got a couple of people to say what they liked about it. Was it worth it? Speak to the person that has never come to one of these before. Is it like, what kind of encouragement would you give someone that is on the fence? And if you guys aren't doing that in your business, I highly recommend it. And I'm glad I wasn't the one interviewing, because I wanted it to not be as biased, right? Like obviously coming out of the heat of the moment, you're going to have the best responses, and you might sour over time as you pick apart yourself, or you pick apart your images, or you pick apart what happened. But I wanted this to like, hey, you're like, almost like you can't escape without like sharing with someone like how cool this was. And instead of, you know, asking them in an email a couple of days later on a forum, like, how would you rate this event and blah, 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 where you might only get a percentage of actual answers from that. I wanted to do it on the spot because I heard someone do that to their own retreats and stuff, and how cool it is to hear from the actual individuals in person, get it on video to use as testimonials. So we pulled that off with a couple of people, which I was super happy with. And that honestly, like, yeah, I'm glad I wasn't the one doing it, like I said, because I didn't want it to feel forced. And so Devin was able to be this intermediary of like, you're not looking directly into Austin from Silo's face and telling him how cool he is. Like that does nothing for me. It has to be like, yo, friend to friend, was this worth it? What's the actual heartbeat behind it? And so that definitely happened. And super, super happy with the reviews and results we got, because some of the people that were having the hardest amount of time like putting themselves into the shoot still came away on video, so like just saying how much it impacted them and how much learning Flash in that moment helped them and what kind of images they walked away with. And so overall it was a great success. And then afterwards we were tearing down kind of as people were leaving, and as we were, less and less people were actually on set, and we were kind of like working with like 3 or 4 people. So Michaela's partner and mom came back, and Katie and Helen and everyone helped clean up, and it was so like seamless. It was great that like we were peeling stuff back to the point where like we were just shooting on one set at the very end, and worked out so well. I think that timing was like a little scary for me. I'm like, we took 2 hours to set it up. It's easy to tear down in 1 hour, probably, if we like were able to just like vigorously tear things down. And we were able to do that efficiently and not actually like just ruin everything and all the elements that we brought in, which I think was helpful. Michaela's probably holding on to some of this stuff, but to be able to slowly bring this out and comfortably do it instead of rushing because we were up against a deadline to leave at like 4 was a huge blessing. And being able to just move forward at a pace that we were comfortable with. So the last thing that we had to do was basically clean up all this technology stuff that we had out for the exit interviews, and we still had the lights up. So I was there, and Katie and I were there just cleaning up that stuff. Got everything on carts, brought it out to me and Devin's cars, and then we pieced out. And that was Awakening, and it was beautiful and everything that I hoped it to be. And someone asked me afterwards, a couple of days later, like, oh my gosh, you must be getting such like an overwhelming, like positive, just sentiment coming away. Like how many people like DM'd you and were like so happy? And I was like, I mean, honestly, the people that needed to that I needed to hear from did respond to me, but it was the people that reached out to Michaela that like made me feel really good. Like people understood that it was her baby and moved straight to her to show appreciation for the event. And that's what I wanted all along. It was not centered around Silo specifically. It was us as Silo and as a team coming together to support someone else's vision. And so when she got all the reviews and all the praise and all of the DMs saying, oh my gosh, this work is amazing, like that is what we set out to do. So that was a huge win for us. And so my post workflow through what an event looks like after it's done is maybe interesting. So I knew I needed to put out an email. I wanted to get an email out to the participants saying, yo, this was so cool. Here's like, if you want to tag people, here's all the tags laid out for you. Hey, if you want to leave a review, here's a link to a form. we used to, or during our captures, we do put a Google Doc or a Google Photos album together so that people can dump their stuff into. For this one, we did not, because it's paid and it's like their photos at the end of the day. So we didn't end up doing that, but that like thank you email, like I have to craft that well. I feel like even if it's only for those 10 people that showed up, like to put a bow on the entire experience as a thank you, like you got to do that email well. So I spent a couple of hours on that email. Afterwards, I just had so many photos to go through, so many like videos to edit. Like as of right now, I still have not edited like almost any of the video from that event. And is a lot, because I took a couple of hours afterwards to get all the photo stuff done. And that came out to like 150 photos or something between me and Devin co-shooting that event. Him focusing on photo, me on video. And so I had to get that out because I knew I needed a thank you post. Those photos always are a good thank you post. And then the video comes afterwards of like B-roll and reels and content and lemons and stuff, that come after the event. So I haven't touched that stuff yet, but luckily enough, Tim LeBeau came through, and dude, he rocked this place with a recap video. He is Veronica's fiance. Veronica like absolutely slayed the shoot. He came along, did video for it, was talking to people, helping people out the entire time, which was amazing. Got that video from him a couple of days afterwards. I knew that needed to be the first thing that came out after the photo thank you on this Instagram. So put up the Instagram thank you. People were already posting photos, and I was like, I am so behind in all this. I just needed a break afterwards. But as soon as I could and was ready, got the recap photos out. Next day, had Tim's video going live as a collaborator, and it just went so perfectly. And so now we have the email out, we have the Instagram post. I need to do more Instagram posts. This video is going to come out as well within the next week after the event, so it's still relevant. I just want as many materials as I can out as possible, just to let people know about this, right? Like the service of posting for an event lasts way longer than just the promotion of it. It's the waves that you make afterwards. It's the things that you do to make it relevant, even though it's already passed and people can't pay for it again. And so it's this like even bell curve almost of like the lead up, it happens, but you're still posting afterwards. You're not just like letting it die. And so, yeah, I'm still on the end wave of that, right? I'm recording this as a post version of the podcast, and tons of video and like highlight video stuff that I want to do, make tons of reels that like actually will make a difference, and see how we can impact more people through creativity. So I bet I'm missing other stuff. I bet there's a lot of other stories that need to be told in all of this, and I'm sure there will be. I reached out to Michaela about a certain idea that we might do here in a little bit that will help tell the story of awakening a little bit more. And I'm really excited to make that a reality if we can, because I think the more like highlights and case studies that we can do to show that we mean business and that we can do business, I think matters a lot. So I really appreciate you guys listening to this whole thing. If it's just rambling, well then, man, thanks for sticking through. If this gave you any value, thanks so much for being here. We have a podcast. We also have a Discord if you want to stay connected in between all of the goodness that is all of our events and Instagram posts. If you want to be notified when we have new things coming up, feel free to join our newsletter. It's a great spot to know for sure, without any algorithm in between, what we've got going on in the next couple of weeks and months. And yeah, thanks so much. This has been the Awakening Podcast, and I'll see you soon. Peace.